We're back on the garden scene in the Earthship after a long pause, you could say. Definitely took a couple weeks to do a whole lot that's going on in the garden area, outside, and kind of everywhere, everywhere else on the farm, and lots of planning and contemplating as well. So, that's the last couple weeks here. I have been spending putting these racks into the greenhouse. We had a forget how many racks actually we have. We have five. Yeah, we have five racks. So, and yeah, it was kind of a pain in the butt to maneuver things, and that's why it is very important to plan out and make sure things are moved slightly before you kind of just start stacking plants and stuff everywhere that get in the way. So, but I actually wanted to kind of touch on this is a method that I've employed, the last probably 3 years, 3 or 4 years now. And essentially, this is how I acclimate all these plants and all the veggie starts and everything for outside. So, this is more so kind of the beginning step of everything where I'm starting now to shuffle everything out here and, trying not to tip over any any of the racks with plants on them. So yeah, I almost had that happen. So I was lucky I saved it trying to set this up. And yeah, remember to take stuff down before you make maneuvers like that. But this is essentially, what's going on. So during these nice days, since we're getting more into these sunny days and less cloudy days, everything's getting warm. It's staying about 80 to 85 degrees in the greenhouse, in the outer greenhouse here, which is super awesome. But that essentially is making it where I'm coming out in the morning. Nick and I are coming out, and we're pretty much placing trays onto those racks out in the greenhouse so that they are starting to get even more sunlight. So this is just a little bit of the process of how we'll eventually end up outside, because the temperatures will be so warm in the greenhouse at nighttime. So I'm kind of monitoring the temperature and seeing kind of the lows we're running into, but monitoring everything. So eventually we will leave all of these trays out here um, inside the greenhouse all night, and then we'll essentially start shuffling the plants to outdoor racks right in front of the glass there, once we start getting a bit warmer outside temperatures. So, this is essentially a daily chore, bringing and shuffling these plants out. And that's where it definitely kind of gets busy. And, I'm doing this in the morning, and now I'm starting to get up earlier and earlier since the sun's getting more and more inside the greenhouse. So essentially, too, that's why I don't do it straight away in the morning. I'm actually waiting a couple hours of the sun kind of beaming in on these days, letting it warm up in the greenhouse. Otherwise, I'm only sticking them out there essentially when it's above 50 degrees out there. So there's been lots of transplanting. So all the little small trays, we've been transplanting up to these small cube trays, or we went from the cube trays to these small square pots that we've got all of these tomatoes and devil's claw peppers, more tomatoes, and you know, I don't know if anyone has had the problem of using these trays, but that it's trying to get these out is kind of a pain in the butt. But maybe there's some factors I'm missing. Maybe they need even more root growth, or but either way, I've got kind of my method here that Nika and I do. Nika likes using the fork. And I personally like using the chopstick, so that's what I'm doing with the chopstick, is being able to poke the bottom. And yeah, before even starting this, watering super well. So I'm making sure that all those cubes that I need to transplant are soaking wet so that the soil definitely will stick together more, poking them out of the tray. So, and this is definitely a tedious process, man. It's like that tray of all those that holds like 72, I think, spots. So yeah, there's like 72 plants in there to transplant. And this, what I'm poking out the bottoms, and it's a pretty tedious, slow process. So, it's essentially what I've been occupying. Nick and I have been occupying ourselves with here the last couple weeks. There's been all these super nice days, so we've been transplanting. Everything's getting bigger, so we're transplanting, upping pot size, and getting ready for the garden season, essentially. So, um, it's super. I mean, that's the nice thing. As it gets nicer out, I'm just taking my steps out in my pajama pants, if you notice that. Just the convenience of the attached greenhouse Earthships. So, this is the other thing that I do have going on in the house. I don't know how many of you remember from previous videos. I had done put some clone gel on a lot of these tree cuttings. So I got mulberry tree cuttings. I've got about 3 pots, so I've got a bunch, almost 100 or so of those little sticks. And then I was kind of experimenting as well with the just in plain water. So that's where you can kind of see things are maybe a little bit slower overall, just going in straight water, but those cuts are starting to get their roots, and those are all mulberry ever-bearing mulberry cuts, and then there's some cherry tree cuts, but I don't think those were working out super well. So besides that, yeah, we've got a couple trays of lemon tree seedlings and then some pear tree seedlings, and that's essentially that's what's going on around here is waiting for everything to come out of hibernation and and just kind of waiting on Mother Nature more so, as I've kind of said in the past. And this is what we'll be doing the next couple weeks and further on as we get a little bit busier in the Earthship garden. So stay tuned for that. But we definitely have way more gardening to do in the Earthship as we get into the growing season here. So definitely stay tuned, post your questions or comments, and definitely support the channel by subscribing as well and sharing, because we've definitely got a whole season to go through. We've got all these plants growing, and we're just getting started with the season, and summertime just coming around the corner, hopefully. But yeah, definitely lots of things we'll be able to explain, and all the different projects that will be going on. So thank you. Peace.